Jake Kessler slammed the brakes as his delivery pod skidded onto the loading deck. He was late again. The Galactic Council didn't care if you hit traffic or dodged pirate fire. Miss a deadline and you lose your job. Jake jumped out, scanned the crates, and grabbed the nearest one flashing red. No time to double-check. He tossed it into his pod, sealed the hatch, and blasted off towards Sector 12. 5 minutes into the flight, his console screamed. Priority cargo breach. Immediate. Return required. Jake frowned. He'd picked up crates like this before. Why the sudden panic? He flipped the crate's lock. Just a quick peek. Inside was a sleek black cube pulsing with blue light. As soon as he touched it, the cube flared to life. Command authority confirmed. Fleet control activated. Jake's heart dropped. Fleet control? He was just a delivery. Driver. His screen blinked again. Galactic Council military asset. Unauthorized possession punishable by death. Suddenly, 3 council ships appeared behind him. Incoming transmission. Return the asset now, or prepare to be terminated. Jake's hands shook. What asset? I didn't steal anything. But it was too late. The council was hunting him. And Jake had no idea he was holding the key to an ancient war machine. Blaster fire tore past Jake's cockpit as the council ships closed in. Alarms screamed from every panel. Warning, hostile lock engaged. Evasive maneuvers recommended. Jake yanked the controls, diving hard through a debris field. Metal scraps clanged against his hull as he zigzagged between broken satellites. This is a mistake. He shouted into the comms. I'm just a delivery driver. The council captain's cold voice crackled back. You are now classified as a threat to galactic security. Surrender or be destroyed. Jake's pulse thundered in his ears. He had no weapons, no shields. No chance. The AI inside the cube spoke again, calm and sharp. Enemy pursuit detected. Engaging defensive protocol. Suddenly, Jake's console lit up with new controls, ones he'd never seen before. Fleet. Response system online. 6 automated attack drones activated. Before Jake could react, the drones shot from his cargo bay, spinning and blasting the enemy ships with perfect precision. 2 council ships exploded in seconds. The 3rd ship pulled back, sending a final warning. You have no idea what you've just activated. There is no running from this. The transmission cut. Jake stared at his shaking hands. He was alive. But now he wasn't just running. He was the center of a war he didn't understand. Jake slammed the control panel, panting hard. What are you? He snapped at the glowing black cube. It pulsed calmly. Fleet Command AI, designation Raven. Awaiting your orders, Commander. Commander? No, I'm just... Command authority confirmed. You are now in control of a Class 7 autonomous battle fleet. Jake's throat went dry. Battle? Fleet? He didn't even know how to fly in a straight line half the time. He tapped the screen, trying to shut it off. Cancel, log out, I'm not your commander. The cube's voice didn't waver. Command authority cannot be transferred. Suddenly, a new alert popped up. 3 additional hunter ships en route. Estimated arrival. 2 minutes. Jake's mind raced. Run? Fight? Hide? He didn't know the first thing about warfare, but Raven did. Okay. Raven, what's the fastest way out of here? Hyper jump to Sector 19. Coordinates locked. Shall I engage? Do it. The ship jolted as it tore into hyperspace, the stars stretching into white lines around him. When they dropped out, Raven spoke again. Commander, we are now outside Council tracking range. Your orders? Jake sank into his seat. His life was gone. His job, his home, everything. But something inside him sparked if they wanted to hunt him. Maybe it was time to fight back. Jake spent hours pacing his tiny ship, arguing with Raven. I'm not a fighter. I deliver packages. I don't know how to lead a fleet. You Already have. Raven's voice was smooth, almost amused. You ordered an escape, commanded drone units, and survived Council assault. That is leadership. Jake rubbed his face. Maybe the AI was broken. Maybe he was. Raven interrupted his. Spiral, new threat detected. Bounty placed on your capture. Value, 10 million credits. Hostile forces approaching. On his screen, a bounty hunter's ship locked onto his signal. Jake's pulse spiked. Raven, options? Minimal. This vessel is underarmed. Nearest fleet unit. 5 minutes away. 5 minutes is too long. Jake snapped, but he didn't run this time. He pulled up the new drone controls. Raven had been showing him tactical formations, evasive patterns, pressure points. Maybe he didn't fully get it, but he got enough. Jake launched a surprise scatter formation, weaving his drones like a loose net around the hunter's ship. The bounty hunter fired, but the drones moved unpredictably, pinning the enemy in a crossfire. One clean shot, boom. The bounty hunter was gone. Jake's hands trembled. He'd won, not by accident. By choice. He wasn't just running anymore. He was learning how to play the game, and maybe, just maybe, how to win it. The Galactic Council sat in silence, watching the battle footage. A human delivery driver had just outmaneuvered one of their best bounty hunters. Impossible, one commander hissed. He's untrained, he's no threat. But Supreme Commander Vake slammed his fist on the table. We made a mistake. We turned him into a symbol. The Council's overreaction had triggered a wildfire. Every star system now buzzed with stories about the human who outsmarted the Council. Some laughed. Others cheered. Across the galaxy, outlaws, smugglers, and freedom fighters whispered his name. Jake Kessler. He didn't mean to become a legend. But now people believed in him. On his ship, Jake stared at the incoming reports. Rogue pilots were sending messages. Alien rebels were offering supplies. Mercenaries wanted to join him. Why me? Jake muttered. I'm just a delivery guy. No. Raven said softly, you're the mistake they can't erase. Jake smirked, the weight settling on his shoulders. He didn't ask for this, but maybe he could use it. If the Council wanted to hunt him, fine. But now he had all eyes. Now he had a fleet. He keyed the comms and said 2 words he never thought he'd say. Recruit them. The Council had just made the worst mistake of their lives. Jake's small fleet drifted through the shadow of a ruined moon. The bounty hunters were closing in faster, sharper, deadlier. Raven, what's our move? Jake asked, fingers gripping the console. Ambush possible. Target weak points identified. Jake swallowed hard. This was it. The first real fight. His drones spread out, invisible like ghosts in the dark. Jake held his breath as the enemy fleet entered the kill zone. Blasters lit up the void. Explosions rocked the battlefield. Jake watched in shock as his drones danced through enemy fire, striking precise hits. His makeshift tactics were working. One by one, enemy ships started to falter. A huge cruiser exploded in a fiery bloom, sending shockwaves through the space around them. The remaining ships panicked, retreating faster than Jake had dared to hope. They're pulling back. Jake shouted. The fleet cheered over the comms, voices filled with disbelief and hope. Jake leaned back, heart pounding. Against all odds, they'd won. But victory came with a warning. The Council wouldn't let this slide. Jake knew the fight had only just begun. Word spread fast. Jake's victory became legend on every space station and hidden outpost. Outcasts, smugglers, and rebels, all forgotten and hunted, started to seek him out. One by one, they arrived in battered ships, asking to join his fleet. Jake stared at the ragtag group gathered in his ship's cramped briefing room. Alien species with scars, secrets, and skills none of the Council's soldiers had. Raven's voice was quiet but sure. You've created something new, a force the Council can't predict. Jake wasn't a commander or a hero. He was just A delivery driver caught in something too big. But the misfit saw him differently. "Why follow me?" Jake asked. A gruff alien with 4 eyes stepped forward. "Because you fight with heart. Because you don't run." Jake swallowed. He wasn't sure if he was ready for this responsibility. But the council was still hunting. And if he didn't lead these misfits, they'd all be lost. He clenched his fists. "Then let's make sure they never find us again." The ragtag fleet roared in agreement. Jake was no longer alone. Jake's fleet moved silently through a shadowy nebula, hunting the next target, a council-run slave colony. The colony's twisted. Towers rose from a dead planet, surrounded by armed guards and patrol ships. "This is it," Jake said, voice steady but low. "We end this today." Raven projected tactical maps across the cockpit, showing weak points and patrol schedules. Jake studied them, heart pounding. This wasn't a delivery anymore. It was war. As they approached, Jake ordered the drones to disable the colony's communication. Arrays, the council forces scrambled, caught off guard by the sudden attack. Blasters flashed. Explosions shook the ground. Jake's fleet moved with precision, striking key targets and freeing trapped prisoners. Cheers erupted over the comm channels. As aliens once enslaved were set free, news of the assault spread like wildfire. The council's reputation cracked under the pressure. More systems whispered support for Jake's rebellion. For the first time, it felt like the tide was turning. Jake's crew looked at him differently now, not just a delivery driver, but a leader who could change the galaxy. But deep inside, Jake knew the council wouldn't give up without a brutal fight, and the hardest battles were still ahead. Jake sat in the cold steel chamber, hands cuffed, facing the Galactic Council's Supreme Commander Vec. The room was silent except for the distant hum of starship engines. Vec's eyes were ice. "You're a threat to order. You've stirred rebellion with nothing but luck and stolen tech." Jake met his gaze, steady. "Luck? No. People want freedom. They want hope. And they found it in me." The council's guards shifted, uneasy. Vec leaned forward. "Give up this foolish rebellion. Surrender your fleet. Your allies will be spared." Jake smiled, tired but firm. "They're not just allies. They're fighters who believe in a better future. Your threats won't stop that." Suddenly, the chamber doors burst open. A squad of rebel ships swarmed the council station, disabling its defenses. Chaos erupted. Vec's face twisted in rage. "You cannot win. The council will crush this rebellion." Jake stood, voice loud and clear. They already lost the moment they underestimated a delivery driver. Outside, the rebels fought fiercely. Jake wasn't just a prisoner. He was the spark lighting a galaxy-wide revolution. The council's fortress trembled under the rebel assault. Explosions ripped through steel corridors. Alarms blared nonstop. Jake moved through the chaos, his hand steady despite the weight of everything. The galaxy was watching. This was the moment that would decide it all. He reached the command bridge where Supreme Commander Vec waited, eyes blazing with fury. "They thought I was just a delivery boy," Jake said quietly, voice full of fire. "But I was the key to their downfall." Vec snarled. "You'll pay for your defiance." Jake smiled grimly. "No, you already lost." Suddenly, Raven's voice filled the room. "Fleet reinforcements have arrived. Council forces are retreating." The tide had turned. The council's grip shattered. Jake stepped back as the council's leaders surrendered, their empire crumbling around them. Outside, cheers echoed from liberated worlds. The human who was never meant to lead had become a legend. Jake looked to the stars, knowing his fight was far from over, but now hope was real. He turned off the command console, his voice soft. "They made a mistake the moment they thought I was just a delivery boy." And with that, Jake vanished into the cosmos, ready for whatever came next.